He's on his first lap of his run. A moment ago, you saw his 1986 record. Roberto Guerrero, you will remember, 1 year ago, had the lead of the 500 in the closing laps, and then on a pit stop, his engine faltered. And as he and the crew struggled to get the engine restarted and get going, Al Unser went by to pick up the lead and eventually the win of the race.
And he's also the driver that got hurt right there on the racetrack, where we just saw his car go by testing the Goodyear radial tires. Something broke on the car, he spun and hit the wall. There's his Katie, just had a brand new baby. Katie's really excited, loves racing.
April 21st, Michael Evan Guerrero was born to Katie, and he, by the way, is at the track and here to watch his father qualify, the first time that he will ever see his father run in a race car. So Roberto Guerrero, 219 miles an hour has been his entry into the third turn, the fastest section of the race course. His first lap, as Katie looks on, ran at 211.9, and his second lap dropped down considerably to 209.054 miles an hour.
Now you can see the car wiggle. Just as it came out of that last turn, Paul, it wiggled a little bit. That means he's not getting quite the adhesion he'd like to be getting.
The speed is falling off for Roberto Guerrero. 211.9 the first lap. His backstretch speed, 219 miles an hour. It fell off on his second lap average to 209. So will the crew accept that? Vince Granatelli is the car owner. Larry Curry is the chief mechanic. As Roberto Guerrero back on the main stretch, this will really be the critical time and speed coming up now. He's getting around this track just a tick over 43 seconds. There's Vince Granatelli with his back to you, as he is certainly thinking about that lap again at 209 miles an hour, 209.020. So the lap average for 3 laps is 209.989. Bobby, would you take it?
Now remember, Paul, right here is the bad decision. Look at Vince. He's doing some talking, some heavy thinking. He's wondering. That's at the bad time. For a guy like Guerrero, he really needs to be about 212 in order to know that he's in the show really good. Vince is doing some hard thinking right now.
Vince's dad, of course, Andy Granatelli, a winner here in '69 with Mario Andretti. As here comes Roberto Guerrero. As he flies toward the line, the checkered flag flies. They do take the run. Roberto Guerrero has completed his qualification attempt. Let's go down to the pit area. Brian Hammonds is with his wife, Katie.
Katie, it's been a long road back since that terrible accident last fall. What were your thoughts during that run?
Well, nervous as usual. That's the way I usually am here, but I think I feel bad for Roberto a little bit. I know he'll be disappointed with that time. We ran so well this morning, so I'll be interested to see what he has to say about the track and the car and such.
Are you relieved that run is over?
Yeah, I'm glad it's over anyway.
Katie Guerrero, a little bit disappointed in the speed, but she's glad it's over with, Paul.
The final lap for Roberto Guerrero at 208.57 miles an hour, bringing the 4-lap average to 209.6 miles an hour, and putting Roberto Guerrero onto the inside of the third row. Let's go down to Jack Arute now. He's with Vince Granatelli.
And Vince, the obvious question is, are you disappointed?
Oh, sure we're disappointed. Ran 2:16.5 this morning, and everything looked perfect. The track has obviously not been good for Mario Roberto today.
Well, as Roberto goes by us here, what I've got to ask you is, why did you keep it then? You know, you still got plenty of time. You could have waved it off, tinkered with the car, and possibly come out when it was cooler during the day.
Well, we don't have any guarantees what's going to happen in the future, and there's not many people running faster than we are right now. So we have to stay with what we have. We know if we qualify today that we're going to make the show, and we're going to have a good.
I notice, though, you've got a T car, a backup car still in line. Something in the back of your head there, maybe?
It's a possibility, but that's not in our plans right now.
We talk about a T car. It's a backup car to Roberto Guerrero's car. A lot of the front runners have them. They put them in line. In fact, Bobby Rahal is going to qualify his backup car after he encountered the problems with his primary car earlier today, Paul.
All right, Jack Arute. So Vince Granatelli disappointed, but nonetheless, they are in the field so far. Here are your qualifiers. Remember, this is all tentative. Anyone who runs faster can instantly jump into the pole position, currently occupied by Al Unser. Mario Andretti sits in the center of the front row, and then Scotty Brayton on the outside. The second row, Derek Daly, Michael Andretti, and Randy Lewis. The third row is now Roberto Guerrero, Kevin Kogan, and Tom Sneva. The average speed of the entire field right now is 210.7 miles an hour. Some of the crowd watches the racing, the other takes a nap under this beautiful Hoosier sky. Bright blue overhead. You can see the average speed, the cars that have qualified on the pylon, and we are continuing to cover live the time trials at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm Paul Page with Bobby Unser, Jack Arute, and Brian Hammonds. We'll continue to cover the time trials live throughout the entire day, and should something happen here, you'll certainly get an update at any time. Well, this is the third meeting of the IndyCar teams. 2 races have already been run this season.
The first was April 10th at Phoenix, Arizona, on the 1-mile oval, a track that requires a similar setup to Indianapolis. Rick Mears had the pole and battled with Roberto Guerrero going to the first turn. But then he took and held the lead, his new Penske quickly outdistancing the competition. But while threading his way early through backmarker traffic, Rick collided with Randy Lewis. He kept the car off the wall and hoped to get back into the race. But to the great disappointment of his team and owner, Roger Penske, the car was out. Arie Luyendyk then had the lead, but as he stopped for a routine refueling, a loose vent allowed fuel vapor to ignite, setting the car on fire. Immediately, firemen and crew fell on the car, trying to put the fire out. Luyendyk stayed in the cockpit, hoping to get the car restarted. But finally, the heat forced Luyendyk from the car. No serious injuries took place, and Arie did rejoin the race, but he was out of the fight. The white Lola of Mario Andretti now picked up first spot. In the closing laps, he stretched out his lead and won going away. A week later, on the streets of Long Beach, Mario Andretti had the pole, but the front row barely mattered as Al Unser Jr. punched his way from the second row up to the lead. He made his move at the conclusion of the first lap, going inside Mario Andretti. Little Al's race was smooth until his first routine pit stop. As they refueled the car and changed tires, suddenly the pit stop ran long. Something was wrong at the left rear of the machine. Danny Sullivan roared past to pick up the lead as the crew struggled with a left rear tire that would not mount properly. A frustrated Gallus team worked hard on the tire and then finally sent Little Al back into the action. Race leader Danny Sullivan now had a clear run, but Little Al ran him down. Then, as they approached the third turn, Little Al, without hesitation, passed Danny and then drove away. That troublesome wheel and tire would not be a factor. It was a smooth run to the finish, and Al Unser Jr. won at Long Beach, California. It was Bobby Rahal who crossed the line in second place.
So the stage now set for the Indianapolis 500, the first day of time trials. Car number 16 belongs to Tony Bettenhausen. It's a 1987 Lola. It's powered by a Cosworth as he begins to move up to speed now on the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Remember, the first 2 races of the season sanctioned by CART, and now we are here under the control of the United States Auto Club, the longtime sanctioning body of the Indianapolis 500-mile race. Well, down in the pits, Roberto Guerrero has completed his run and now stands with Brian Hammonds.
Roberto Guerrero ran 2:16 in practice this morning, only 2:09 in qualifying. What happened?
Well, it was the track, I think, got too slippery, or it was for my car anyway, so it's a little disappointing, but we'll just have to concentrate on the race now.
Did you want to keep that speed, or did you want Vince to wave you off?
Well, I didn't actually know what I was doing, so I didn't know. I mean, I knew they weren't very good for the RPMs that I was seeing, but, you know, it's too risky waving it as well. So I think we're in the race, and we'll just have to do our best then.
Are you disappointed?
Very much so, yeah. But, you know, more disappointed for the whole team. You know, they've worked very hard, so we'll have to make it up to them on the race.
All right, Roberto Guerrero, very disappointed. Now let's go down the pits, and Jack Arute with Danny Sullivan.
Well, Brian, a car goes into the box, as they say, when it's ready to attempt qualifications. It goes through technical inspection, and that's what's happening to Danny Sullivan's car right behind us. Danny, you're in the box. You're next up. What have you learned so far from what you've seen out here?
Well, just basically that the track's slippery, and the balance has gone a little bit more toward understeer, and I think that's what's happened to a lot of guys. If they had a little bit of understeer, it got a lot worse. So hopefully our setup from this morning, which was a little loose, might bring me to neutral. Maybe we'll have a quick one.
So you really didn't make any changes on the car, but you think maybe the track, as they say, came to you a little bit more than you had anticipated?